All right, I think we are entering week 2 of me shadowing Chelsea. We got back from Dubai, and Abu Dhabi, and I am living on his couch currently, and we're looking for content to shoot. So, we are going to... Wait, I should look this way. At that TV, we're going to review drift footage, and... How do we explain this? Wait. Hello, dog. All right, we're not doing pretty well. We are going to, what are we doing?
Review drift footage and point out people's mistakes and how they could drive better.
Probably it's just going to turn into shit talking though, correct?
Probably. That's probably truth.
And what does the dog say? The dog says nothing except smells. All right.
The dog doesn't smell. It's
no, it's me.
smelling.
Okay, so we are going to critique people's driving in an effort to teach people how to drift. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, let's teach.
So, but...
All right, take one. Reviewing Formula D Top 16 footage with Chelsea, blah, blah, blah. Let's do this.
Sweet.
Here we go.
So we have Wang and Jay Wang, which is Jeff Stoneback. Wang's leading. Oh, let's just talk about this real quick. Some people may not know about this. So at the start, we have a chicane we have to go through as the lead car. And what that does is it allows the follow car to have no excuses but to be on the person's door, because this car is going to get slowed up quite a bit through here. So if you're falling back, it's really just your fault. The timing is like less crucial with this chicane. So the tree is right here, and that lights up, and then once all the lights disappear, you can go.
Here we go. Sending it.
So through the chicane here. So he's already in a position where he's too far back. So, I mean, you should really be at least to the back wheel. He looks like he's about another car length back. Oh, it catches up here, so that's pretty good. Chucks it in, but he's way on the inside, which is okay if you can back your car up. But his car looks like it has a lot of grip, so he's going to have trouble diving in on the inside here. So he's a little bit shallow, as you can see, but Wang is super deep with a lot of angle, so he has a really, really good run right here. And then Stoneback's just trying to stay on the inside, but he can't stay at drift because Wang's at so much angle and he's shallow, so he can't actually stay in drift like without smashing into him, so he ends up straightening instead of using like the left foot brake. Right here would have been a really good time to use the left foot brake. I went back too far. Cut that out.
Nope.
So right here, he should be on the left foot brake already. This is good proximity, not amazing, but great. He needs to be on the left foot brake already, and you can see it by the light bar up here, he is not. So because of that, he's going to end up falling out of angle shortly because he's got nowhere to go. He e-brakes, tries to reinitiate, but Wang is literally smashing the wall right here. Like, his run is fantastic as a lead run. Look, you can see his bumper's actually hanging off. And then right here, as we transition through here, you see Stoneback is completely smoked out, and Forrest is going to do this little e-brake maneuver that backs him up around the clip, but Stoneback's car can't really do that, so he gets stuck transitioning early. This could be because he's either blinded to what's happening because of the smoke, or because of Wang's setup on his car being very difficult to follow, and his run being so gangster. So obviously Stoneback transitioned right off the clip instead of driving out to this outer zone here. So now he's totally stuck. There's like nothing you can do at this point. He's put himself in a position where he's got nowhere to go. So he ends up running a great line. Wang's out here right on the outer clip. Stoneback has to reinitiate, but now he's way shallow, so he's going to end up overshooting this clip right here because he has too shallow of a line. He had to be out further like Wang. And then, again, just being too shallow everywhere, he transitioned, and now he's just never going to make this part of the turn at all. And Wang's just chucking it in backwards through here. So obviously, Wang has a huge advantage going into his follow. Stoneback goes through the chicane. Pulls a pretty good gap, actually, if you notice. On initiation, he's got a full car length between the two cars. He throws it in. Wang has the same amount of angle, but Stoneback's pulling away. Pretty good run on the wall. Really, really close to the wall there. Transition right on the clip. This is how he needed to be following Wang. Right on the outer zone. Wang shallowing up to keep up in the run. Not really any big mistakes from either of them. Great transition through there. A little bit off the clip. Wang's closer, but gets rolled out on. So the judges give it to Wang because obviously Stoneback had straightened a few times there in the first run.
Really quickly before you go on, would you say the overall problem in that was Jeff Stoneback couldn't drive his car slow enough, or he couldn't set the car up to drive slowly enough? Like, was it a driver problem or a car setup problem when he was against Wang there?
I think with the power band that he had, he could have very easily used the use of left foot braking and hand braking to stay back behind Forrest or at equal with Forrest through the entire run. I think his car is much faster than Wang's, which we saw in the lead run. He pulled away. But I think also, like, you just have to know how to use a left foot brake behind people in situations like that. Or the handbrake, foot brake, if you keep driving up to their door as you're doing it, and as soon as you get too close, quick handbrake, foot brake. Quick handbrake, foot brake. I prefer left foot brake because it looks smoother, and also, like, even though the judges don't like to see left foot brake, if you're on the brake the entire run behind him super close, it's obvious that your car is faster and you're showing a better display of being able to follow.
Yeah. All right, next up.
So Cameron Moore, Odie, Bakchis, they power through the chicane. See, this is a good position to be in right here. Like, you're at the back tire. That's right where you want to be. And then he actually falls back and doesn't stay close enough. So this is a huge gap. Like, this is not good to have in Formula D. Both throw it in. He stays a little shallow to try to keep up, but this is a bad position to be in again. Low angle. He's having trouble getting his car on power, while Odie's out here on the wall with a great lead run. He's staying shallow, but it allows him to keep the proximity. He dives in on the inside, and now he's kind of in a position where he's stuck. So if he's got balls, he's going to say, fuck it, and power through this, and maybe hit Odie. That's his only chance. If he doesn't, then he may fall back really bad and be off this clip. Let's see what happens here. So he stayed in it, and that was good, but threw way too much angle too early, which again put him way off the clip and shoved in on the inside here. And on this particular turn, if you're not out here where this outer zone is, you have a hard time at the next inner clip.
Near perfect. Cameron Moore, huge
Odie has a great run in the lead. He's going to overshoot here now because he's too far offline. But this looks good through here. Like, he's in a good position for following for the rest of the run. He's just a car length back. Let's see how it goes the other direction. Through the chicane. See, now Odie is literally in front of him. And what this does is it intimidates this driver, knowing that you're right there. So now they're no longer maybe focused on where they need to be, because he's a new driver. He may not be, you know, so into it. This actually pumps me up. I'm like, this guy is ready to throw down kind of deal. So Odie stays pretty close, falls back a little bit, but he lets him initiate first, and this is really important. He's getting ready to initiate, but he's scoping out how this initiate happens, and he's going to drive up to his door.
Into that initiation point, Cameron Moore, good angle.
Both have good angle. Cameron's a little bit off this outer zone, but this is a safe follow run from Odie, staying about a car length back.
Great proximity.
Good transition, but off the clip very hard on that because he transitioned too late back here. Let's see if we can go back. So if you see, he transitions early. His car is looser, so it backs up around the clip. Odie's is tighter. Like, tighter means more grip. So he flicks later, but it doesn't allow him to drive into the inner clip. So he's off there. But he does a good job here driving back up onto the door. About a car length difference again. Oh, and he gives him a hit. So let's go back and review this. So he's already on the brakes here. And he's shooting out a little bit too wide to make this inner clip over here. And Odie's kind of hooked up, but he's dragging the handbrake, trying to make it happen through here so he can stay on his door, waiting to see what happens here.
Odie.
Again, he's still on the handbrake, it looks like, or maybe even just floating the car. But Cameron's slowing down pretty rapidly and doesn't ever really get on the gas, it seems like. I don't know that he was even going to make this clip. It looks like they made contact there. Maybe he had a problem with his car or something.
Major. Oh.
But yeah, you can see he doesn't look like he was ever even going to make that.
Some contact.
All right, hey, pause it for just 1 second.
Okay.
All right, restarting. Keep going.
So obviously Cameron is already zeroed, and Odie ended up hitting him, and they're just going to power through. Odie's car may have damages to it. I don't know. We can't
Whose
really
fault
tell.
was that?
Finding out.
So,
Obviously the lead car?
to me, it appeared as, like, as a driver, it would appear that Cameron Moore made a mistake or had a problem with his car. I'm not exactly sure what that was. From what I have data on here, it looks like he was never going to make that inner clip anyway. And the fact that Odie hit him, in my eyes, is because of Cameron Moore's error.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who won this battle. We're about to find out. But to me, that win would go to Odie, or at least a one more time at minimum. Oh, that's cool, the track bar.
Do you believe it should be a one more time if the lead car screwed up and caused the other car to screw up like that? Or it should just go straight to Odie?
I think that if you can clearly see there was foul play or an error in the person in the lead position, then I do believe that it should go right to Odie.
Okay.
If it's not clear, then it should be at one more time at minimum.
Let's go for the next clip.
Chelsea DeNofa is unable to make it to the line.
There we
Oh,
go. How
God.
funny is that?
Run for Matt Kaufman.
Byron.
Who?
Wah,
Do you know how many times
Kaufman looks
Jared
like
said, I'm unable
he
to
can go
make it
for
to the
podium
line
shot
this year?
weekend. And this has got to
Was
be
it
a
one?
one confidence too. Like,
7
holy
times,
cow,
probably 6
I'm in the
times?
grade
maybe?
eight.
No, it couldn't have been
and,
7. You won one.
I'm
There's
feeling
8
very
events.
settled and confident in
really?
my vehicle.
Yeah.
And you're
I
right,
don't
he
even
has
know
thrown
these
down
things.
some incredible runs this weekend. He's got
It's
to
a weird
just kind
looking
of maybe
S13.
iron out a few little wrinkles, and I
Right.
think he's going to get there. But sadly,
You
for
can just
Chelsea
fast forward
DeNofa,
through this. We know you're
has
not
been
showing
a
up,
reoccurring
right?
thing for
Ryan
him.
Sage is pumping me up right now, though.
Which
Doesn't matter.
gets beat until he wins.
I think that for him. So,
Okay.
Matt Kaufman, 3 vehicles already in the 8. Matt Kaufman is one of them.
Oh, God. Okay, so this is another one. It looks like Aasbo's leading. He just went through the chicane. This clip's a little cut off. And Pat Goodin is following. Let's see what we got here.
Here we go. So let's see. Pat Goodin's got that.
So Pat was on the inside. He's deciding he's going to tuck behind Aasbo here instead of doing a side-by-side entry. It's a preference on however you want to go.
Yellow hoods.
Pat is having some trouble right here. He's got a little bit of under and oversteer while Aasbo's locked in already.
Get it into the door.
Oh, more
Great
understeer
angle
from
Aasbo,
Pat.
Goodin.
Looks like he didn't have a committed enough
Initiation there.
entry. But Pat's
Struggling there. You can see
Pat's
Pat
getting
with
back
the
on his
break.
door here.
Aasbo.
Good line and follow,
Good
just a little bit too
transition.
far
Now
back.
Pat
Great
Goodin
transitioning
seeming to
time.
mirror the angle and the
So this is a
transition
really
of
good follow
Aasbo.
from Pat. He's just that little bit of distance back now.
Tight on the clip are
He's
both
trying
the
to lose
drivers.
some grip or lose some angle to pick up
And
speed, but
Pat
then
Goodin
overshoots
over-
this. And you can see why he overshoots it. He comes
On the
through this
transition
clip
of
and
Aasbo.
takes out all of his angle to try to catch up to Aasbo, which is a good move. But because of that, he gets stuck in the smoke and transitions a little bit too late
And washes
and
out.
washes out
Overshooting
off the
that
front
fun-
clip.
Front clip and Frederick Aasbo unanimous.
I didn't even see the first run. I guess they missed it.
He looks like Patrick Mordaunt.
So anyways, Aasbo ended up winning that, but they only showed one battle. That's interesting.
He gets the win. The SR by Toyota 80.
Alright, so FRS battle. Tuerck is here and Gushi is here. These cars are pretty similar, so they should be able to stay right on each other's doors.
6s, 2 JZs,
They're on the
different
same-
teams,
oh, I guess Nexon
different
and
Hancock.
Hancock.
Ideologies and driving, but you know what? Two
So again, he's going to tuck behind him here. That's another way of entering instead of going door to door.
amazing and fun drivers to watch. And you're
Both
about to
have
witness it.
good
Here it is,
initiations.
Ryan Tuerck
Gushi
and
drives right up
Gushi.
under
Ryan
the
Tuerck.
door.
Woo, nice job.
Has to dive down a
Getting
little
into
bit
that
because
wall,
Tuerck hit the
blending
wall
in
back
red
there,
and
but this
white,
is really
camouflage.
close.
Gushi
Nice
with an
transition there.
So that was a
Great.
really early transition, but it worked really well in his favor as long as he can drive back out towards that second outer zone in this track.
early transition there. The
Transition's a little early, but he makes it work great.
In and out.
Drives
The
out.
Bronze
Tuerck's a little
50-52
off the
wheels
clips.
go round to the Hancock
But,
tire
oh,
rubber and
and it
Gushi.
looks like Gushi had a
Straight down.
mechanical problem. Or maybe he hit him. Let's see.
2 wheels go round to the Hancock tire rubber and
Looks like he
Gushi.
maybe had a mechanical
Straight
problem or
down.
missed a gear. Tuerck finishes the run pretty strong with good angle, right on the clip, super close.
Ryan Tuerck on the money.
Oh, I guess they just only didn't show the other one. Maybe his car was broken and he couldn't do the second run. So this is Hohnadell and Forsberg, 2 total different styles, so this will be good for Tandem. Show a video of this. Through the chicane, Alec.
Go Hohnadell. Looks like we got a clean start. No
Chris
problems
right
here.
next to him
Alec.
again. Not really giving him a ton of room, but another car length here. It looks like he uses the foot brake on the handbrake for transitioning the front. It's just how he kind of drives. Chris drives straight in and just pulls the handbrake.
Throwing it in, big
Alec has a
angle
bunch
from
of angle.
Hohnadell as
Chris
Forsberg
locks right
drops
on,
into
super
formation.
close.
A
You can see
solid
Chris
defensive
left foot
head battle
braking
right
a little
now,
bit, as well as
Hohnadell
Alec,
maxing out that
to
angle,
stay out on the
hanging
bank.
it out there, transition.
That was a really good transition from Chris and from Alec on the lead position.
Hohnadell and Forsberg, pass that.
So Forsberg transitions a little bit early here, and he's not quite going to make it out to the zone. But what he does is he cheats that a little bit by like using a light foot brake and handbrake to drag himself back. And it also kind of sets him up to not get screwed over by Alec when he cuts on the gas here.
Hohnadell
So
putting
Chris
on a
is able to
great
stay
show
right
out
on his
front.
door because
Forsberg
Alec's got a
here,
lot of
everywhere he
angle.
goes. Big
Alec
angle,
mows the
Hohnadell
clip.
takes out
It
that
opens it
front
up for
flip.
Chris to drive in on the
Massaging
inside.
the car
And then
into that final
Chris
clip.
grabs the
Wow,
clip
make
right
some
after that. It's a
noise.
really good tandem battle between the
The
two of
crowd
them.
absolutely.
Alec's angle allows Forsberg to stay right on his door because he's not super fast, and it makes him a little bit more predictable. Chris just has to make sure he doesn't grip his car up too much; it gets stuck.
Their feet here at St. Eustache.
So Alec jumps the light here, so because
Allowed to
maybe
jump the
Chris is
light.
faster on the
Forsberg.
straightaway. Alec chucks it in super close. Like, this is how I prefer to enter. Like, using the clutch kick, maybe a quick handbrake, drive right up to the guy's
Alec
door.
Hohnadell right there.
Alec throws angle to slow down, which is
Almost
always cooler
mirroring
than using the
exactly what
brakes.
Chris Forsberg did on his
But
run.
Chris
Look
is
at
pulling
Hohnadell
away
chase.
because he's got a little less angle.
Chris
Here
Forsberg,
comes
big
Alec
angle
again
here.
by
Pass
transitioning
that
close.
front clip on the close attach.
Again, like, tons of angle, both of the drivers here. But again, Alec is doing the same thing as Chris was there, trying not to get shut out here by being too shallow. This spot right here gives you some extra room to dive in. Chris is a little bit off on the clips, but Alec is right there on him. Almost hits his door there. Neither of them get that clip. Oh, Chris knocks that clip and pulls a little bit of gap against Alec. I would vote this a one more time because they both got clips. But Forsberg got one on both of the runs versus Alex, where he only got one of the clips, the inner clip before the last turn. So I would vote it to be a one more time, except, or also because of the fact that Alec got pulled a little bit between the second and third clips. So overall, it would definitely be a one more time in my eyes. We'll see how they vote it.
And say one more time.
So
It's
everybody says
unanimous.
one
They're
more
going
time.
at it again.
Plus, it's a really good show.
Matchup for this
All right, so we have Pawlak and Gittin, and Pawlak is leading.
leader and the guy that's
Two
looking
totally
for
different
himself.
setup cars that look
Justin
exactly the
Pawlak has
same.
one up right now because he leads in the first battle, so he's going to throw out some big angles.
So both of them enter very similar. Vaughn leaves a little bit of space on entry, but let's see if he can pick it up here.
Rolling into it, not as flick nasty
Yep,
as
so
we've
he was
seen
able to catch
earlier
right up
in
and have
the
to actually
day
use
and
the
throughout
brakes.
weekend.
Almost
As Vaughn
straightens
Jr.
because
shallows
of
up, gains
the
some
speed
proximity,
that...
gets the
Oh,
angle.
let's go back here.
Throughout the
Almost
weekend.
straightens up because of the speed he's scrubbing with the amount of angle.
As Vaughn Jr.
But gets back
shallows
into
up,
throttle.
gains some
He
proximity,
transitions
gets the
super
angle,
early.
transitioning past that
It has a
front
weird
flip.
transitioning
Little
point, but
massage on
Vaughn
that front
stays
flip.
pretty
All
close,
16
about a car
cylinders
back.
firing past the judging stand. Loud and proud.
Tries to
All
close the
American
gap
muscle,
here. Both
all
are on that
American
inner
battle
clip
here
really well.
between two
Justin throws a
gentlemen.
ton of angle into that
Of the
last clip, which
sport,
is really
Vaughn
good,
Jr.
and
and
Vaughn is
Justin
pretty much
Pawlak,
right there
exciting
on him.
Let's
So
see,
Vaughn, at this point, Vaughn has a little bit of a mistake. If I had to vote which one has an advantage, I would say Justin does at this point, even though he had an awkward line coming out of the first turn going into that inner clip.
And Junior will lead. Justin Pawlak chases.
So Justin's pretty far back here on entry. That's about a car and a half, maybe two. He breaks in, and
Justin Pawlak.
Justin just like throws backwards entry into the bank and wobbles around everywhere. I have no idea what he was doing. So Vaughn's doing a clean lead run, pulling away. Justin starts catching up. He's back on his door. He's made up the ground.
Exploding that front flip.
And then
Oh,
Justin
wow,
just
Justin
ends up
Pawlak
hitting
getting
him.
to the side of Vaughn
So,
Jr.
I think Justin was just pushing too hard after he made the mistake. Oh, now Vaughn's on
Oh, wow, some
fire.
big flames.
Jesus.
Some big flames shooting out of the back of Vaughn Gittin Jr.'s vehicle.
I have no idea what's even happening right now. His headlights fell off, but they're just dangling.
And there it is. Vaughn Gittin Jr.
So this is interesting. Vaughn actually ends up getting the win here, right? Because they must have voted the accident because of Pawlak. Let's just double check through here again. So they're locked on. Vaughn's using the brakes a little bit, but he's on throttle, and Justin just plows him. So I guess that would be at Justin's fault. Now he's on fire. That adds to it. So they deemed Justin at fault because he literally just smashed into the rear quarter panel of him. It didn't look like Vaughn was off throttle or anything. He was just cutting the line. Is this good working or no?
Keep going.
All right, so this run is with Dean Kearney and Dai Yoshihara. Dai is obviously in the FRS. They kind of have an awkward leave of the line, but Kearney's charging pretty hard, about a car and a half distance, but he does the e-brake and a foot brake initiation. Dean does the same. The Dean's car is much faster, so he's able to drive right up to his door through the entire first turn. Left foot braking so he doesn't hit him. Great transition right there. That's perfect. He literally put his front bumper on Dai's back bumper. Dai's in perfect line. He's in perfect spot to dive in. He'll dive in. Has a transition and wobbles a little bit, like he wasn't really happy with it, but doesn't straighten, powers through it.
Can you pause for a second?
Yep.
What causes the Viper to do that? The wobble?
So it's definitely a steering geometry thing. He has so much front grip on his car that when he does a wobble, like steers the front around, the car actually wobbles. He probably has a similar setup to Wisefab, which was really conducive to that. But you can see he steers in more angle and the car wants to wobble itself straight. So he either wasn't on the gas soon enough or couldn't be on the gas, or maybe he missed the handbrake or something to be able to drag it. But his steering definitely wobbled him because you can see the steering wheel literally wobble around. Or not the steering wheel, the actual front wheels. But he gets back on the gas early enough that he doesn't get it straight and it's just a bobble. A little bit of a gap, but Dean tries to power through here, and transition's nice, but there's about a car and a half gap between the two of them, which is less than ideal for those last two turns. So now Dean's leading. Much closer entry here. This is like about ideal for where you want to be so that you can charge up to their door. Dean's car's a little faster, so we'll see if he can catch him.
Yoshihara initiating, both of them kind of rolling into it.
So he's way offline here. He needed to be back here on the wall, but Dai's doing a good job following. A little bit of a gap there, but Dai is on power trying to close it up. Another great transition through here. Dean's a little bit off the clip, but Dai's diving in right behind him. His car actually does the bobble again, so this is interesting. If you watch, when he gets on the gas, his car has so much grip that it wants to bobble. Right there, he got on the gas. You can see he starts understeering. But Dai's doing a good job following. So his car just has too much rear grip for the front. So the only way to get around that would have been to just huck it faster and harder into the turn. He's a little off on this outer zone, but Dai's doing a good job following his poor line. He's a little off on that clip again. And they both finish about the same thing, about a car and a half back. So in this battle, I would give it to Dai Yoshihara because Dean had too many mistakes. And he didn't have as strong of a lead run.
Yoshihara and Yoshihara unanimously.
So, even though Dean had a more aggressive run for some of it, it was definitely not as smooth as Dai's, and Dai had a better lead run. So this is the one more time with Alec and Forsberg.
Now that the sun is going down, how the
Alec's going to lead.
It's getting cooler, so the track and the time.
Chris is pretty close. He does a little flick entry, Alec does.
How they
And then boom, drives right up on him. So if you notice, he initiates first, and then Chris waits so that he can drive right up onto his door because this is a one more time, and he knows exactly what Alec's going to do because they've already driven together. So Chris dives up on him, uses some left foot brake. Both of them using left foot brake to stay on the bank. Chris staying right on his door, right where he needs to be. Really close transition. Staying right on him, perfect at his door. Charging in, about a half a car gap between there. It's perfect. Alec nicks the clip. A lot of angle here. and then drives through, and he hits the clip, so Chris could dive right in and get pretty close to that last section. That was a really, really good follow run from Chris. Now we have a lead run from Chris. We both chuck it in. So this is interesting. Alec has a little bit more angle, throws it in early. Right now, Alec is literally, his entire run is in the hands of Chris, how he gets on throttle. So he's putting a lot of trust in Chris that he's not going to play any games. They both get on throttle. It's a pretty good run. Super close to the bank. Pulls back. Chris pulls a lead right here, but then he'll dive in to get close again by taking some angle out. So right here, this transition after that clip, he's already transitioning at this clip, so he's gonna stick himself right here. It's gonna dive in too far. So while Chris is still moving out towards the outer clip right here, he's already in a path into the inside, so that's not a good place to be. The only way to fix this at this point would have been to get on the gas much earlier and try to push his way out. So he dives in a little shallow, but saves it, doesn't have any bobbles, just is way offline. Again, still way offline, gets caught in the smoke and pulled a big gap because he didn't get to cut across that clip. Chris has hit this clip every single lap so far, but I definitely give Chris the win there because he was much closer to Alec for the entire run, and his lead run was in better shape than Alec's. Need a drink. So much talking.
Taking a break? You can pause.
We're only halfway.
We might not finish.
That was really good stuff.
Unless you're an animal.
Alright. I need some honey for my voice.
You want some water or something?
I got this tea that's gross. Everybody loves this. I'm not about this. It's sweet tea, juicy stuff. Alright. So now it's Forrest and Odie Bakchis. Forrest is leading first through the chicane. Odie is charging up here. About a half a car here. I would like to see it closer, but we'll see if he's able to dive in. He also probably knows Forrest is going to be a little bit slower because he's going to drive with a ton of gangster angle through the entire first turn. So get ready for Odie's brake lights to come on. Let's see. So brakes are on. A lot of brake light for him to stay, but doing a good job mimicking the lap. Forrest is gangster online. This is another thing. This is like, watch Forrest's car make it around this clip. His car actually backs up. Boot right there, which is crazy because he's obviously running a really, really short traction arm or some sort of weird rear suspension that when he pulls the handbrake it toes out, because he's able to literally back himself up around the clip like a older style, really low S13 that like would back itself up on the handbrake because of the traction arm length. But Odie's going to be off on this clip, but he's going to also be able to drive right up into Forrest's door right here. So let's see. Oh, again, gets stuck. Transitions too early, and he's way on the inside here while Forrest is running that super outside line. So he's going to get choked up here and have to try to make his way out to get with Forrest's door. You see he gets choked up, almost drives straight. Forrest throws a ton of angle through here. Well, Odie is behind. And Odie gets choked up and has to straighten because he got trapped, basically. And Odie just had a terrible line through there.
Getting off the line.
Forrest jumps him a little bit. Odie's like, Forrest is actually in front of him when they initiate, and he lets him get through because obviously he doesn't want a zero. It's about a car width gap.
Interesting approach.
And Forrest is trying to drive into him while Odie's going to start pulling away here. Let's see. Oh, Forrest stays right up on him. He must have gripped his car up for this run.
Thanks.
And Forrest is in a really good position here, but he's got a gap here. But his line through there was perfect. Oh, he washes out wide. So why that happened was Odie came through here on the handbrake while Forrest was charging and trying to get to his door. But Forrest overshoots it while he drives forward into the clip. So just watch Forrest overshoot the back bumper on his car. Too much speed and doesn't have enough grip to pull himself, so he touches the dirt and gets pushed right off. This is a big save for Odie because Odie was in a bad position going into this battle. So they do it one more time because they both zeroed. Odie zeroed going through the inner clip, and then Forrest zeroed obviously by spinning out. Can we boost this up somehow? Higher up.
Yep. All right. Way better for me too. Oh wait, I just started recording. Whoops.
Hopefully you were recording before. Did you get that last fucking 5 minutes?
Probably. Let's do this. Why would I not be properly recording?
Right.
I'm a professional. Look at what we're doing. We're iPhoning
one more
this.
time, and it's unanimous.
All right, so we got. This is the Great 8. We got Aasbo and we got Matt Kaufman, who got a bye run because I suck and my motor blew up. All right, so Aasbo's leading, Kaufman's following. Aasbo throws it in. Their speeds are both look a little bit low in comparison to the last few runs, but Matt throws it in at the same time. Instead of driving to this outer zone cone right here and getting some more charge on him, he enters a little early, but we'll see if he can close that gap. Goes a little shallow so that he can catch up to him, and then locks right on. This is really good positioning here. This looks really great. Kaufman threw a little bit too much angle. If you look right here, he starts throwing angle in, and that really slows him down and allows Aasbo to pull a gap. Aasbo right on the inner clip. Now he's falling back, and he's trying to play catch up, so he's diving really, really slow, or really, really low, and trying to get through. But still tight on the clips and not making a fool of himself. It's still a clean follow run. It's just not quite as fast. He also nicked that clip right there on the last turn. Kaufman's going to lead. Aasbo's going to follow this time. Looks like his car's pretty loose, so let's see. So look at this. There's like a car and a half gap, which is what I would not like to see. But Aasbo, over the radio, has heard that he has a big advantage, so now he's going to drive like a giant puss bag for the rest of this lap. So he throws it in. He's just, I'm going to leave this safe gap. Closes it a little bit right here. That's really good following right here. He's got a lot of angle to scrub speed and was also shallow. Using a lot of left foot brake, Aasbo is. So let's see, transition through here. Aasbo hiding in the smoke, clearly just pretty much drove straight behind him. Let's see here, if you watch this transition, pretty much was almost straight through there, but he's right on his door, so that's definitely where he needs to be. Again, staying right on his door here, leaving about a car gap. Has a good transition. About a car off. That was actually a really good follow around. I'm surprised Aasbo gave it all he had because he had a huge advantage off the first run.
They are a force to be reckoned with here.
All right, so these guys are teammates now, so this will be a good one. Tuerck's leading and Chris is following.
Yeah, he's looking the strongest and most confident. I'd probably
So
say even this year.
Chris is in a really good position on entry. Tuerck's already entered, and Chris is just now entering, and he has more speed. If you look, here's the cone you have to be entered by. So this allows Chris to drive right up to his door without having to try to catch up through the rest of the turn, and this is what the judges like to see. So he's got it right on his door, right from the beginning, super close, like less than a car gap between here, really, really smooth, great transition on the inner clips. Chris is in an awesome position here. He is actually deeper than Tuerck is, and he's actually got more speed, so he's able to just stay right on him here. You can't even see him because he's on it, charging into his door. Chris is actually tighter on that clip than Tuerck is. Chris has a great transition through here, and is actually tighter on this clip than Tuerck. So that's really, he's just making a mockery of Tuerck right now. And then Chris transitions a little late on his back bumper, so he's almost in the grass, but what this does is he'll just be able to power right through into his door again here. So that was one of the closest battles I've seen in the back section of this track. Now Forsberg's leading.
Let's see who can break open a bit.
So if you see here, Forsberg's entered, Tuerck's driving in a little bit further back,
Here we go.
but goes less angle so that he can catch up. So this is another really good battle. Chris is right on the wall, super close. Tuerck's diving in a little bit early here, so he puts himself in a better position for this in front of the judges. Gets pretty close. Again, Tuerck's super deep, just like Chris was. Chris has a lot of angle right here. and Tuerck's just able to stay there. Forsberg literally rode the line perfectly through here. And that phased Tuerck a little bit. He fell back, but now Tuerck's closing the gap again. Has a good transition through here and drives through. Is a little bit off the clip, but I think Chris's lead run was better than Tuerck's, but Tuerck's was very close. But I do believe that Forsberg had a better follow. So I would give this to Forsberg, but it could be a one more time depending on what the judges were seeing from the judging tower.
There it is. It's unanimous.
So it goes to Forsberg. I would agree with that. All right, moving on. Top 8. Jesus, we're only halfway.
I don't know why I didn't get a tripod for this. I'm a moron.
I have one. Do you want one?
Ah, it's too late. It'll
Too
look
late?
weird.
All right.
We'll just keep going.
Imagine my arm. I'm holding my arm pointing at shit the
I have
whole
a
time.
camera in my hands.
It's an iPhone 7. What do they weigh? You probably know the tech
It's
on
a
that.
plus.
Okay.
You know how much bigger the plus is?
Yeah, I have a
this thing is
plus.
huge.
I know. You want to hold it and film at the same time? Or you want to film and chat
No,
at the
you're
same
a
time?
driver. You don't do that much work.
All right. Oh, God. If you only knew. All right, so Forrest is leading. Odie is following.
I should get your pit crew in here to hold this.
Here we go, Forrest Wang.
So Forrest enters pretty early. It looks like it's at the 2 cone. Odie's low angle, dragging the handbrake here. He's going to try to drive up into Forrest's door. Let's see if he can power through it. Forrest is a little bit off, but he's widening it out. There we go. Getting a lot of angle, using the left foot brake to back his car onto the wall.
Oh, that is a good
That's
pause.
good right
Sorry,
there.
just leave that for a second.
Yeah, that's really, really
Are you
good.
allowed to drive without a front bumper?
Yeah, you can, as long as you have to start the event with front bumper.
That is an amazing... I wish somebody got a good picture of that.
I'm sure they did. So,
First battle.
if you see, he kind of starts pedaling it and then brings on the left foot brake, and he backs himself up onto the wall with that. Then he pours a ton of angle right here, and Odie has like half of the angle of Forrest. He backs it up so far that he ends up catching the wing on the wall right here. Look at that angle difference. Forrest has way more angle and blows the wing off. Odie's on the brakes trying not to hit him because he's got less angle. And he's...
Imagine getting that wing through the window.
Yeah, that'd be gnarly. They have to tether those this year.
Wow.
So, all right, so Odie's in a good spot, transitions, a little bit of a gap, but again, like, he's in a good spot as long as he doesn't transition too early like he did last time. Again, transitions too early. This is like the 3rd time he's done this. He keeps trapping himself. Like, this is like, I would love...
Is it because he has too much mechanical grip in the car, so when he transitions, he darts in?
It is, but he could just transition a little later, and he'd be closer to Forrest and where he needed to be.
So it's a timing problem.
It's a timing problem, but there's a lot happening right here, and you can't really even see this clip when you're following because that car is blocking the clip.
Yeah.
So it just depends on how he goes through that. So now Forrest is in a really good spot. Odie's getting choked up again, but he'll make it all right with the handbrake. Super good, clean lead here. He's way off the clip here. He actually dives into it, so he's like late apexing it, but it leaves a spot for Odie to just dive in.
Physically or mentally by that wing hitting his windshield.
And he gets choked up again right here. He almost lost the last battle because
He's phased. He got a wing in the face.
Look at this. He's not even close. Plowing that thing, almost driving straight, while Forrest is just murdering him.
3 seconds ago, he got
So
a wing in the face.
this run right here has a huge advantage to Forrest because he just had a super gangster run while Odie just like jacked up. And I really hope that Forrest doesn't like choke up here. I actually didn't watch these in person because I was too busy pulling my motor out in the pits. So I don't know what happens, but...
Clean start.
All right.
Odie Bakchis.
Forrest is right on his door, making him feel the heat here.
The winner goes against Frederick.
Both enter about the same time, about a 1-car gap
Aasbo.
between. Forrest has no wing now. His car doesn't seem to be affected by it,
Bakchis,
though.
nice job.
And Forrest is trying to catch up,
Clipping zone.
but he kind of chokes himself here. And I see this happening all the way from here, and now you can really see it. He starts pouring on the angle like he's going to run his big gangster wide run, but then Odie's car has so much mechanical grip and tire grip that it pulls himself away from the wall and kind of chokes Forrest out. So Forrest literally just traps himself. And this sucks because Odie messed up so bad in the first run that he needed to just put a decent follow down and he would have been fine. But now he's going to mow this clip. And he's just zeroed. It's over already. we'll continue watching for the hell of it, because Forrest is going to get really mad and probably just blow the tires off the thing. Like, so Odie has now got 2 battles that he won when he sucked, and the other person just zeroed it out. Odie's a fantastic driver, but this just seemed to be how it was working at this event.
The win. The stands are still packed, Ryan, and those fans.
All right, so now we have Dai leading Vaughn. 2 totally different cars, so let's see.
I just realized I've never seen Dai's cars with this vinyl scheme.
Oh, God.
Come through and light 'em up.
Anyways, so Vaughn is about a car length back, and Dai is already entered. Vaughn waits a little bit longer, but not really as long as I would have, to try to drive up onto his door. But Vaughn is pulling angle out to get on his door and gets right there, super close. And you can see Vaughn's car is bogging really hard. Let's watch this again.
Gittin Jr.
He's literally floored, clutch kicking, and his motor's bogging. As you can see, like, he can't get out to that zone because his car doesn't seem like it has enough power. He either has so much grip that he can't really spin the tires, or something's maybe mechanically going on with his car. And then, again, transitions too early and goes right, runs over the clip with the front of the car. But he's still charging, trying to figure it out. And then Dai straightens unrelated to Vaughn's setup, but you can see, watch the front of his car. Is that just the brake pads? Or is it still sparking off of his car?
So is that 2 independent zeros?
Yeah, this would be 2 independent zeros. And I believe it would be 2 independent zeros. I didn't see any contact.
So Forsberg waits. Vaughn Gittin Jr. or Yoshihara.
So here we go. Vaughn's leading. Dai's in the follow position. Vaughn gets a huge gap on Dai and does an early initiation. This is huge. I mean, we're talking...
It was just a straight E-brake also, not a clutch kick E-brake in the front?
Yeah, that was just a straight E-brake, it looked like. And then, did I say clutch kick?
No, I was just curious.
Okay, yeah, it looked like he just did a handbrake. And if you watch, Vaughn's car has a ton of anti-squat, which is how much, basically the front control arm angle. Because his car doesn't really squat at all on the straightaway, right? And then you watch him handbrake, and it just smashes the car to the ground. I don't know if you can see that.
I saw it.
Yeah, so that means he's got a lot of grip in the car. He smashes it down. Anyway, Dai pulls out a lot of angle to try to catch up to Vaughn. Vaughn's riding a pretty deep line, but then falls shallow there. If you notice, he fell off the wall a little bit. But Dai's on the inside here, trying to catch up. Good transition time there. Dai, again, transitions super early. He's like no man's land. You don't want to be anywhere near this. While Vaughn's going out to this outer zone. So Dai gets choked up a little bit while Vaughn has got a pretty good line through here. A little off on the clip. But Dai does a decent job following, but has some bobbles trying to get around the clips. I'd imagine because it's dark and there's so much smoke that it's very, very hard in the follow position. This is why you'd want like your muscle memory working really well here. So that goes to Vaughn because I guess he had a better lead run and made less mistakes, and they both zeroed in the first run. So the win was basically based off of one run, which would have been the second
Gittin
one.
Jr. Formula Drift presented by Blackview.
So now we have Odie and Aasbo, and we're gonna see if Odie can make a clean line in the follow position.
Aasbo, defending champion. Odie Bakchis.
So here we go. Aasbo snaps to good angle right off the bat, and Odie is slowly rolling into angle. He's already, it looks like he's on the left foot brake, and he's going to try to drive up to Aasbo's door. Very low angle, but then gets right up on his door, matching the angle pretty well. Lots of left foot brake, even locking the front tire. Both have good transitioning time here. Odie should be in good position as long as he doesn't transition early again. That was a good transition there. Odie's able to stay a car length back. Pretty solid. Right on the clips for both of them. And then this is a good battle because they're actually not too far away on these last two turns. Bakchis gets the clip on the inside there, but that follow run was pretty good.
How did Odie enter? It just looked like he got on the brakes and turned in slightly and the car came around.
Yeah, it looked like he did a handbrake
Oh, I
with
didn't
a foot
see
brake,
anything.
and then jumped right on the gas to left foot brake. Just probably jumped his feet over. You know what I mean?
You don't need to go back.
Okay. So now Odie's gonna lead. Aasbo's gonna chase. I would say Odie and Aasbo have a pretty even battle at this point. See, yeah, he used the e-brake and the foot brake.
The first time I didn't see any smoke on the rear tires. I was just curious.
Gotcha.
That time it was pretty clear.
So you'll see here, obviously, about a car length gap, car width gap here. The same type of thing as last time. Aasbo has less angle than Odie. But Aasbo is able to latch onto the angle similar to how Odie did, but now he's charging much closer, super close. He gets himself in a little bit of an issue here, but he powers through, and I think he's going to make it around this inner just fine. Yep. And then good transition, snap to angle, staying about a car length back, a little bit closer than Odie was there. Look at that, really, really close. Odie pulling some angle out, but Aasbo's right on him. This run absolutely goes to Aasbo because he just murdered Odie on that run. I don't even know who voted one more time, but they should be fired. Alright, so Forsberg and Vaughn. A lot of these battles have been interesting, so we'll see how this one goes. So Chris is leading, and they both throw it in about the same time. You can see Vaughn's e-braking. He did a quick e-brake and got back on throttle. He's still on the brakes.
That looks like his alignment changes a lot when it slams down.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to probably... probably because it has so much suspension travel on the e-brake.
Yeah.
Because when you have the control arm set up like at an angle like this, when you get on the gas, it doesn't really squat much because it has to fight this force here. But then when you e-brake, you're locking the tire up, so it squats the car quite a bit. So they probably have some camber gain in there to keep some side bite. Alright, so Vaughn is having a little bit of a struggle, but he gets right up on his door, working the car a lot. It looks like Chris is super deep on this line while Vaughn is following pretty closely. Good transitioning time for both of them. Great flick through here. Vaughn's a little bit of a gap back, but it's a clean follow. Super close through the clip there. Chris has a good lead. And super close for Vaughn on this last turn. Chris was pushing so hard that he clipped that inner spot really, really well, the inner clip, but then went all the way out and washed out into the grass. So he was really, really pushing on that run.
And this is just to decide who goes to the final. The loser gets fourth
All right,
place.
so
The winner.
Vaughn's going to lead here. Chris is going to follow. Vaughn's car's pretty fast in the straight, so let's see if Chris can get on his door. So again, they both e-brake and enter about the same time. He's already on the foot brake off of the handbrake. Chris is on throttle. Drives in. Probably going to do a little bit of left foot brake. No. Vaughn's actually pulling him really, really hard through here. Ooh, and Vaughn, I don't know if he caught the wall or just had so much grip. Let's see. Oh, Vaughn actually got the wall. He was riding so deep. But didn't straighten, had a bobble. Great on the inner clip there, but Vaughn is just pulling Chris. Like lots of grip in that car. And Chris is trying to catch up by having less angle. But Vaughn is right on all the clips. He actually hit that clip. Oh, and Chris got super close in that last one. He was able to take some angle out. Oh, we just saw who won, but I'll play this again. Chris has about a car gap here, but he pulls all the angle out right here to be able to charge back up onto Chris or to Vaughn's door. So that was super close. So obviously they give. Just cut that out. All right. So we have Aasbo leading, and this is for the finals right here. And then Chris is in the chase. So this is for the win of the event, so it should be a really good battle here.
And it's possible that we could see
Light goes out. Aasbo goes through the chicane. Chris waits a little bit, but should have maybe waited a little bit longer. Let's see. It's about a car and a half gap there. Chris goes a little shallow, so he can tuck right up on him. Perfect. Look at how close that is. Absolutely perfect run here. Look at that. Like, you can barely even see Chris behind Aasbo there. Aasbo has a good lead run. Uh-oh. So this is a problem. Chris transitioned a little bit early. I don't know if he's going to make it around this clip without doing a handbrake drag. But Aasbo's right on line where he needs to be. Chris has a straighten and hits the clip, so that's not going to be good for Chris. But he's able to get back in there and start charging back to Aasbo's door. Aasbo has a really clean lead run, good angle. That's a really fantastic run. Chris had a good follow besides straightening and running that clip over. The rest of it, he caught up really well at the end there. Let's see. So Chris comes in again. Quick entry. Aasbo's closer on entry and is able to lock on about halfway through the turn. Very similar to his lead run. Aasbo using a lot of brakes. Chris, perfect line through here. Snaps a ton of angle. While Aasbo gets a little choked up by the angle, isn't expecting it. Which is real quick. I'll touch on this.
Did Chris do that on purpose?
Yeah,
to
I'll
phase
touch
him?
on this real quick. So
That was rad.
So Chris is a straight shooter, right? So instead of driving and using the brakes or anything, he'll just out gangster the guy to try to make him mess up. So this is like a tactic that's like more, I feel, is more acceptable because you're driving so G that you're making the guy behind you mess up instead of using the brakes or handbrake. So he just straight up 90, like insane angle, and Aasbo is trying to get it, dives into the inside, but Chris is able to stay on line with that backwards deal. Aasbo is just mowing him down though, super close, staying super close.
If he can drive like that all the time, why doesn't he?
Because there's no room for error when you do that.
Yeah?
Which,
but it
like,
looks
I
rad.
drive like that all the time. I don't really care. But,
Yeah.
like, there's not a lot of room for error when you do things like that. So, obviously, this one has a huge advantage to Aasbo, and I would see Aasbo taking the win
Formula
here.
Drift Championship. From California, in the ARC Performance Field Suspension Hyundai Genesis.
So, Odie gets third.
Edimus Odie Bakchis.
So it's interesting. Did you think Odie deserved third on that one?
Well, he had to get third because of the...
No. How he, like the level of driving. He was one of the more... He had a lot of mistakes in the comp and everything.
He had a lot of mistakes, but they weren't zeros. So that's what happened. His mistakes were lesser than the other people's.
Yeah.
But Odie's a fantastic driver, but I just, at this event, it looked like he had a couple hand-me-downs kind of deal.
But then Chris obviously was awesome at all that.
Yeah, so
And
Aasbo
Aasbo
drove
was
really
really good,
well.
too.
It is a true Norse. That is the Rockstar Energy Drink TC of Frederick Aasbo.
So Aasbo gets the win.
The victory.
For once, Forsberg didn't get the win.
There is your winner, defending
Oh, I wasn't even
champion,
paying
gets the
attention.
victory
Oh, because
again
Chris screwed up
after
that
he
one
gets
thing.
Right,
the win
Chris
or
transitioned too early and hit that inner clip.
Cool. Can't believe we made it through this whole video.
I know, it was a lot of talking, but that's I feel like that's how the announcing should be at FD, right?
Yeah. That was fantastic. All right. Goodbye. Goodbye.
So yeah.
Goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, Aasbo. Goodbye.